This is the show that has a proven track record.
You have to connect with the fans. If you can't connect with the fans, you're never going to really have anybody on your side.
This is a show that has a real approach to sports.
They've been terrible, but now they've gotten some young players, and they're still bad right now. Yeah, they're getting better.
This is a show that's not going to give you the sweet stuff.
They're decimated with injuries. No one on that staff seems to be able to pitch right now.
This is the award-winning show that's giving you the truth, just like they always have.
What are we talking about?
Where are we at in society today?
Listen and learn.
This is Delay of Game, the Sports Talk podcast.
Oh, welcome into the final podcast produced by Delay of Game. It's been so much fun, but all good things must come to an end, I guess. Ryan Swanigan with you. I'm joined by the fantabulous people. Their names are Brent Bonfleur.
Hey.
And Matt Rigby, who's trying to figure out his microphone. What's going on over there? Do you need help?
I'm good.
What is this? Is this final show sponsored by Sweet Home Alabama or something? What is that music?
I don't know. You want me to play something else?
Well, normally it's like, you have something a little slower, and then you go like straight to like Kesha, like dance club music, and that was just way different. What is that?
I don't know. I'm throwing a changeup.
I'm not complaining.
You were
I'm
expecting the two-seam fastball diving down and in, and I just threw you a straight change, and you just couldn't handle it.
I struck
right
out
over the top.
Thanks, pretty much. Yeah.
A whip, swing and a miss.
With the bases loaded too, mind you. No, not really, but
typical.
How about this? Would this make you feel any better? It's our final podcast. Great memories on Delay of Game. I remember a year ago when I hosted the last show, and just like, no, this is so sad. I'm going to be off air now for forever, and pretty much have been, except this, but,
Should rename the show Phoenix, because it perennially rises from the ashes. Or maybe the Phoenix Suns, because it perennially disappoints the people who are its fans.
Hey, that's kind of the story of my life. All right, enough of this.
All right.
Thanks. Goodness sakes. We got a fun show today. We're actually not doing the rant first. We're doing the draft first.
What?
Yeah, surprise.
Okay.
We're doing the draft first to get that out of the way. And then we're gonna have a fun rant, all-inclusive rant again today. Because I have always wanted to do this. And I don't know why I never really did it on Delay of Game when it was on the radio. And yet, for some reason, I just randomly thought, oh, this is a good idea. Let's do it for the last freaking podcast. So we have that. So fun rant there. We're going to include random facts, but it's kind of going to be a different type of random facts. We're going to emphasize the random part, as in the random week's story, the random stories that came out of the sports world this week. This was the craziest week in sports that I have seen in a long time, just of how many different things came out of the week from the draft and from the NBA and from ESPN. And yeah, so we're just going to be spitfiring those off.
And from hockey.
Oh, of course, yes. And Matt Rigby will inform us on the latest on the hockey front.
And from Leicester.
Oh, quick story, because we just talked about this for like 10 minutes before we started this podcast here. I have officially picked a soccer team to cheer for. Now, yeah, I know. I don't have an NFL team yet. I won't commit to the Chiefs. Yeah, I know. But
You say it's like a big announcement. I have officially
committed
picked
to a soccer team.
Yeah, soccer.
It's Arsenal. Yeah, I know. Matt Rigby just loves that pick. It's Arsenal! At least, hey, now, let me be fair. I know Matt Rigby says Arsenal's boring. I don't know that much about them other than, I've seen, like, tweets of them here and there, scores here and there over the last, 10 years. And I know that they won the championship a couple of years ago. But I will say that at least I'm picking something that's not, stereotypical, like
you did with the Warriors?
No, that was no. Don't start with that.
Okay.
2009, 2010 season. That's when I started becoming a Warriors fan because that's all ESPN would put on TV late at night. So I was like, well, start watching the
It
Warriors.
was either that or the Cosby Show, and he chose the Warriors.
Man, well, okay.
Which,
when it comes down to that, yeah, that's a good choice.
2020 here, that's not a bad decision. Yeah, pretty much. Where is that thing? We haven't used that in a while. So it could have been Manchester City. It could have been Manchester United. Could have been. I should have gone with Barcelona,
Which one is Beckham
but
on?
I didn't. He's retired.
Okay, how about Messi?
Barcelona.
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 Yeah, I should have gone with Barcelona.
Instead of going to
Can
Barcelona.
I have two? You're the official judge of all
No,
this.
you can't have two teams.
Can I have two
Okay,
soccer
but then
teams?
like being a Barcelona fan is like, man, I keep trying to come up with comps. Like Barcelona wins games. It's like if you watch Nebraska play McNeese State every week. Like you're not signing up for much other than happiness.
Yeah.
It is the least hard thing to do. I guess easiest is least hard, huh?
It's the easiest?
Let's use our words here.
Yeah.
It's the easiest
good.
thing to do to become a Barcelona fan.
Yeah.
Okay. So I chose Arsenal then, who was
Yeah.
the equivalent of the Boston Red Sox, according to Matt Rigby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I'm now an Arsenal fan. Now I could have just gone back to what originally got me interested in soccer, and that is Primera División down in Mexico with Tigres and the Pumas and Guadalajara and Monterrey and
See. Where's that place you said you went and rode camels? Algeciras? Something like that. Al Jazeera is a news service.
Or, no.
That's what you said.
No, how about this? It was in the country of Morocco. Would that be
Okay.
easier?
That's fine.
That's easier.
I'm just
for
saying
you.
what you said.
I know that.
Like 2 years ago.
No, it was a year ago that
Okay,
this
a
happened.
year ago then. Fine, whatever.
Yeah, it was.
That you went to Algeciras.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Al Jazeera's.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was Tetuan.
Tetuan.
Where did I come up with Algeciras?
That's what you said. You said, I can't remember the name was like Algeciras, Al Jazeera's, and I'm like, I think you're just thinking of like the last Mexican restaurant you went to and then like Al Jazeera.
No, that's no. I really don't know where I came up with that.
I don't know either. I'm just saying.
What?
You're the one who said it.
I
just
have
repeating.
I have no idea where that came from.
Well,
That is suspect.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
isn't it?
wouldn't be the first time.
Very okay. Well, with that, let's get into this show before I get carried away here.
Delay of game is going to the monitor and having a look at something controversial or crucial from the week in sports. It's under review.
Now, we could have chosen so many different things for under review. Like I said, random facts are going to be featured of all the stories that we could have picked from this past week to discuss. ESPN was on my mind the whole week. We could just tore them apart. But
We're slaves to the NFL.
honestly, there is nothing more interesting that happened this week. Yeah, Luke Walton to the Lakers. I'm spoiling the random facts here. ESPN and everybody jumping ship over there. Johnny Manziel, Tom Brady, D. Gordon, which is let's be honest, that's the
I have a
funniest.
lot to say about D. Gordon, actually.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that can be one of your random facts
We
then.
can talk about Skip Bayless too.
Well, that's part of the ESPN trio. Tom Thibodeau going to the Timberwolves. I mean, just so many things. But the NFL draft had everything wrapped into one. Of course, the annual booing ceremony for Roger Goodell, and then he basically acted like a jerk this time, and that's the nice form. I actually almost dropped something by accident there. But then, like not even before Roger Goodell could start taking his annual beating from the fans.
That's the best part of the draft,
Oh,
really.
of course.
It's just a chance for him to get booed.
Laramie
Isn't
Tunsil.
it? Hold on. Isn't it funny though? Like, I mean, I almost love Goodell's reaction because, like, it's almost as if he's saying without using actual words. It's almost as if he's saying with his reaction, "You people are paying money. good money to go to a draft. I've created this. I've created this, or I mean, he hasn't solely created it. He's helped cultivate and further
revamp
this billion-dollar enterprise that forces people to not be able to control themselves and pay money to go to a draft to boo him. He's just got to be. He has the last laugh. He knows that. That's why he just laughs. I mean, I don't like Roger Goodell, but I think it's funny that
anyone likes Roger
I think it's
Goodell.
funny. I mean, I'm not. Even though I don't like Roger Goodell, I'm not paying money to go to the draft and boo him. So who's the real dummy here?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
It's definitely people. Well, I think it's so funny. What was he on, like Good Morning America? And someone asked him.
CBS this morning.
CBS this morning.
I would know if it was Good Morning America.
Yeah, and they asked him a question
he
about
had to
concussions and stuff. He went, I'm sorry,
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, could you? And then they repeated it without any buzzwords
They
like concussion.
repeated the actual question
Oh, they
part.
did?
It was basically this enlonged question that basically had a question in it.
Yeah.
Or in a long sentence that had a question in it at the end.
Yeah.
And so she just jumped to the question part instead of repeating the whole sentence.
Yeah, well.
Which I thought was hilarious.
I'm sorry, can't hear you. Oh, that's
I'm
better.
sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Like
That's a little more toned down. That's better. All right, here we go.
well done.
Oh, Roger Goodell.
Exactly. So then there was that, but that was then preceded, and Roger Goodell got in on that later, by Laramie. Is it Tunsil? Did I say it right? Tunsil? Yeah, Laramie Tunsil. The offensive tackle out of Ole Miss. And what a great video, honestly. Guys, that we should put that in for an award,
I mean, he's a smart kid. I mean, he's not stupid. I mean, he's stupid, but he's young. He's young stupid. He's not stupid. Alden Smith is stupid.
I would love to hear Doug Lowry's reaction. See, this was the year that the NFL draft show on KRNU needed to happen, and it didn't because everybody's gone now, except you. But it was like
I'm going to do all Matt 7 too. Rounds. Just me and Matt.
See, last year we did the first round, and Doug wanted the second one. Was like, no, Doug, I'm not. No, I did the second and third round last year. That was painful.
Yeah.
Let's just do the first round. And this was the year that we could have had the greatest NFL draft show on KRNU ever, and we all had to leave. It's like so many things could have been great this year for my broadcasting career, and I graduated a year too early. Matt Rigby took them all from me, and Michael Dixon.
Sorry.
And John Kipper, too, I guess. But, Kipper should, anyway. So, I mean, and it was great, too, because your Ravens then basically got scared off because they were going to take him. And they didn't. And they end up taking Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame. And then Laramie Tunsil falls to the Dolphins, and they finally take him. But it's like all this, literally, I've never seen something as chaotic and crazy that involves both the NFL and the NCAA just freaking out about a video and then about the Instagram posts featuring the text messages to a coach at Ole Miss asking for money. And now there's an investigation going on at Ole Miss, and it's like all because of social media and his social media, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Laramie Tunsil's social media outlets all got hacked, and this happened. This is probably, I don't need to tell you that it's one of the more crazier things that's happened in the history of the NFL draft, because it is. You couldn't write this stuff up. Probably couldn't even think of it. Now, can it happen? Well, it has, because dumb stuff like that nowadays in society is pretty much what takes place. But this was just like one of the more shocking things I've seen.
I didn't watch the video. I saw like a screen cap of it, and it just looked ridiculous.
It looks, I think that's an understatement. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on it. I thought this was unbelievable how everybody literally seconds before the draft begins, they're just changing their mindset and what they're planning to do because of this video.
I don't think it was seconds before. I mean, the Rams made the trade earlier on before this video came out.
No, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it changed things that much. It changed things for him. I don't think it... I mean, the rest of the picks pretty much went as planned, except for Tunsil. Yeah, well, they wouldn't have... I mean, Tunsil was supposed to go number 1 anyway, so...
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
After the trades, he probably would have went 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the trades. But he was supposed to go number 1, and then after the trades. So, I mean, the trades are what changed this up. The only thing I think that's way crazy is that he went from projected number 1 to fell to 13. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Surely there's been a bigger fall from grace than that. Randy Gregory. He was projected to go in the top 5
and ended up going 29 to the Cowboys or something.
Did he go
in the second round?
Yeah, I was gonna say he went second round. Yeah.
Oh wow, I thought it was in the first round.
I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense because it's so reactionary, and you see teams. I thought it was dumb how many teams passed on Miles Jack before he finally got drafted, and you sit there and wonder is it almost paralysis by analysis sometimes? With how big a deal is it when you could probably argue that there are 15 other Laramie Tunsils in the first round that just haven't been caught, you know? But that being said, look at what's happened with Josh Gordon. You wasted an entire draft pick on Josh Gordon if you're the Browns, and you gotta have, I guess, some semblance of skepticism when you're picking that high in the first round. We don't want to totally throw it away,
but you're the Browns, so you do anyway.
Yeah, so you do it anyway. Or you take what the Browns take 5 wide receivers in a row yesterday or something like that. Did y'all see that? Mm-hmm. Or maybe it was 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I actually, for the first time in my life, had rounds 4 through 7 on. I wasn't paying attention much to it. It's kind of just background
4
noise,
wide receivers in a row?
They just kept going. They just kept on going.
Seriously.
No
I can run my Madden Dynasty better than they can run that organization.
I can too. Are you kidding me? I can too.
Good grief.
It's it's a Cleveland Browns, folks.
Yeah.
It's the Cleveland Browns. What's the baseball comparison, Matt? Because we've done this already twice today.
Oh. I don't know if there is one anymore because baseball parity has become a thing. So, almost every team in the last 10 years has been good at least one time. And the Browns haven't been good
I think
ever.
the closest, the closest I can think of is the Colorado Rockies.
Maybe, but even the Rockies went to the World Series.
Yeah, but that's been a long time though, 2007.
Yeah, but the Browns has been since '99.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think Browns.
I think for a long time you would have said the Pirates or the Royals, but they're both good now.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The Browns are the opposite of the Moneyball Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Even though they're being run, though they're now being run by Depot Podesta's in the front office,
right?
And he was Jonah Hill in that movie.
Yeah, right.
The VP, yeah. Oh man. But anyway, I thought that was great how that all just exploded at the beginning, and then of course Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. Who's going to go 1, and then whoever is picked is going to go 2. That's how it shaped out. I thought the Rams. It's going to be tough for Goff. But I thought that was a good pick for them. Either one was a good pick, but more so because Goff basically just moves down the coast to Los Angeles.
Well, they also keep talking about, a lot of pundits keep talking about these 2 quarterbacks actually being underrated. That they might actually be better than a lot of people.
Really?
Wow.
It's not just a case of, because the argument was being made that this is just a case of 2 teams reaching for a need, and 2 need teams come into picks 1 and 2, and they're not actually representative of the first and second picks. When Luck and RG3 went, they were 1 and 2. Right? There was no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Whereas you could say in this draft, maybe Bosa was better, maybe some other players were better.
Ezekiel Elliott, maybe.
Yeah, but then I think it was Todd McShay said, I actually think both these quarterbacks are underrated, and I think that they're both going to be pretty good, pretty solid. So.
Really?
All right.
Well, Carson Wentz, I think, is a great fit for the Eagles because Carson Wentz to me reminds me of Andy Dalton. Not really this flashy guy.
Because they're redheads?
Well, I didn't even think about that, honestly. But now you say that, there is that similarity. But they just go about they just go about the game of football in the regular professional manner that you expect them to be, and to just understand and to learn and to, play the game right on the field and off the field. And that's why I think Carson Wentz he's a mature fit for a city that demands so much from its teams. And Carson Wentz is like, all right, yeah, we'll get there. Just give me some time.
Yeah.
Now, patience is no longer a virtue in this world because I've explained that one too many times on this program. But maybe Philadelphia will realize that because Carson Wentz is not like an RG3 or a Johnny Manziel. He's not flashy or he's a quarterback. He's what you expect from the quarterback position. So that's why I think both for the Rams, because it just fits for Goff to be in Los Angeles. He stays in California. But Carson Wentz, you bring in a mature quarterback into Philadelphia. That's what they need. Not Mark Sanchez, not Sam Bradford, Tim Tebow, whatever. You're bringing in a mature QB who's going to, honestly, I think it's going to work out and fit the system for them. We'll see for sure. Now, of course, Doug Peterson, first-time head coach, we'll see what happens with him. But he's an offensive-minded guy.
Yeah. Not
coming from a college situation like Chip Kelly. So I think the Eagles have something working out here. We'll see if that actually happens. How about those Ravens, Brent? You were disappointed. You're very disappointed about that.
Solid and boring as usual. Offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, a couple late
corners.
running backs.
Trust the Ozzie Newsome board.
Yeah. Did they not take a single cornerback?
I don't know. I want to see. I'll check that out.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think. Which running backs did they take? I can't believe I'm
they did take a
this.
quarterback, Tavon Young, out of Temple in the 4th round.
Oh,
pick.
they took Keenan Reynolds out of Navy.
Oh, that's right. And Kenneth Dixon, Louisiana Tech.
Let me ask you though,
Kenneth
Brent.
Dixon was the other one.
Let me ask you though, Brent. Like, my feeling on the Ravens last year was that their season was lost when Suggs got hurt in week 1. Mm-hmm. And I think if Suggs doesn't get hurt and if Flacco doesn't get hurt later on, I think the Ravens were probably more realistically at least an 8-8 team. So if you project health, number one,
right?
Project maybe a little better luck late in games, in close games.
I think they'll hit 10 wins.
So do you then at that point feel that, because most teams that draft in the top 10, there's this constant debate in the NFL draft, like, do you draft for need or do you not? And do you trust the board solely? And so I think teams in the top 10, they just trust the board. They're like, we're unless it's like a quarterback, which can be a true need, but even that's a long-term project. They're like, okay, we're just gonna get the best player there, and we know we're probably not gonna be good for a long time. The Ravens are an interesting case though, because I felt like they were a top 10 team that isn't in win in the future mode. I think they're still kind of in win now. So would you have liked them to take a corner because that's their biggest weak spot right now, even though it's notoriously Ravens to take best player on the board?
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, of course I would have liked that, but at the same time, much the opposite of the Cleveland Browns, I have full confidence in their front office, and they always do get really good players, and like these linebackers and stuff that I've never heard of from Boise State, and whose names I can't pronounce, like they typically turn out to be really solid players, and they're extremely deep always every year on defense. Like I've been wanting them to take a wide receiver for years, and they finally picked up Perriman last year, and he didn't play.
Well, there's another injury. They didn't have Perriman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And they picked up some running backs this year. No huge names, and I didn't really expect them to. But, I mean, I'm always disappointed every year in April with them, and then I'm always very satisfied when they win, if they hit double-digit wins, which they typically do, aside from the past couple of years. But
they're in a tough division right now, too. I mean, like...
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of almost in limbo, but they handle limbo so well. Like that's what I admire about teams like the Ravens is like they never have a true rebuilding phase because they're always looking towards the future.
Yeah, very fundamentally solid.
Let's switch to Matt Rigby's team, the Denver Broncos, way down
Had the best pick of the draft.
Honestly, yeah. I thought, now I don't know how you're gonna react about this. We're gonna find out here, but I thought that was a great choice for the Broncos to get Paxton Lynch.
Well,
I thought it was a huge score.
Lynch.
there are. Who were you talking about?
Jano.
Oh, Andy Janovich, yes.
They took him late yesterday.
That's right, yeah.
I saw that.
That was pretty cool.
They took a punter late yesterday, too.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide going into the draft whether I had actually resigned myself to the thought that they weren't taking a QB because I thought Paxton would be gone in the teens, and then I thought Connor Cook was not worth 31, and they weren't going to trade up into the teens. Now, when people started to slide, or I guess if Paxton slid, if you want to call it that, and when Miles Jack started to slide, I started to think, man, the Broncos could do a real, screw you to a lot of the teams and say, like, we're taking Miles Jack. We're just going to make this defense even better down the road. Right. So I was kind of rooting for that at a certain point. But anyway, long story short, I thought I was kind of resigned to the quarterback's not happening. Maybe the Kaepernick deal still get done. Maybe it's Brian Hoyer. Maybe it's Fitzpatrick. Who knows? I have a grace period. I've told you guys that. But once Paxton became a reality and once the Broncos traded up, and I knew I was actually driving at the time, but I got a text message saying they had traded up, and I knew that it had to be for Paxton at that point. I started to think, okay, this is the ideal scenario, because I went back in my mind and said, when Brock signed with Houston, who did I want? Who did I think was the best option? Was it going to be a rookie, or was it going to be a trade, or was it going to be a free agent? And I ranked kind of those options in my mind, and I had Paxton Lynch 1. I had Kaepernick 2 as the second best option, and then from there you go down the line, like maybe Connor Cook, maybe Brian Hoyer. But Paxton was always the number one option. So when they were able to do that, I thought it was good. Now, I didn't like giving up the third-round pick because I love my third-round picks, but you got to look at it like, what is Paxton Lynch? And this is the summation, I think, to me. Paxton Lynch is the type of pick you make when you're John Elway and you just won the Super Bowl. Like, number one, you're John Elway, so you're very brash. I mean, everything he's ever done as the Broncos GM has been brash. Number two, this is total boom or bust. Like, if Paxton's boom, you have your quarterback for 15 years. Exactly. I mean, that's what everyone's been saying. High ceiling, totally high ceiling guy, but very raw. If he's bust, you just won the Super Bowl, so you can afford to bust. Yeah. So, I mean, why not put your chips into that at a certain point when you've just afforded yourself a little bit of a cushion period? And so, I mean, I don't even think he's going to play this year. I think it's going to be Sanchez that starts all year still. But that's fine, because this is in 15 years, if he's the next Big Ben, and he's just so athletic, so he could be, then, like, I will never rue the day when we traded away a third-round pick, So I loved the pick. I mean, my whole draft was set as a fan at that point, and I really wasn't expecting much out of it. I'd have been totally fine when I thought that a quarterback was out of play. I would have been totally fine with just an offensive lineman at 31. I mean, I thought that was probably their biggest need. But to get a quarterback there after all the fluctuation in the offseason at the quarterback position with the Broncos, I think it was huge because, it's the mantra of, like, every now and then a blind squirrel still finds a nut. Like everyone has a plan until you
even
get
a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Michael Snow.
Everyone has a plan until you get hit in the face, and their plan was Osweiler. They got hit in the face. They had to adapt. They had to be the blind squirrel, and I think they still found the nut, if you will. So I was pleased.
I think this is like the exact opposite of the Ravens, because the Broncos, to me, aside from probably the Cardinals, were the most complete team in the NFL last year. And so, yeah, like you said, they could have just gone and said, screw you, and picked up a really good offensive tackle or Miles Jack, did he go third round? Or did he go?
He went second round.
He went second round. Yeah. Some like the best player available and just really short up. But no, they went... they took a little bit of a chance. Like you said, this is boom or bust. But, I mean, I think that as a fan, like that, I know for myself, that's always what I want to see. Like, it's not typically the prudent choice. And typically it's more often bust than it's boom. But, no, I would commend the Broncos for taking a quarterback there and taking a risk when they can. Because, like you said, they just won the Super Bowl. And they're still loaded.
Right. And
I know they've lost a few guys.
The interesting thing about boom or bust is that, I mean, like the entire Broncos Super Bowl was won on boom or bust. It almost never works to use that. It's not prudent, like you said. But when they splurged on the free agent market defensively 2 years ago, that was boom or bust. It was like you signed DeMarcus Ware, TJ Ward, and Aqib Talib in a span of 2 days.
Right.
You're saying boom or bust, and it paid off. So why not? I mean, that's been the John Elway era with the Broncos. It's boom or bust. It's like, I'm John Elway, and this is what we're doing. You know, I'm signing Peyton Manning. I'm trading Tim Tebow. He has a flair for that type of stuff, and it has now worked out. So why not continue it?
Yeah. By the way, can I just say the team that won the draft? Well, we can go around. We can say it. Who we think? I think it was
Cleveland Browns. Sorry.
Whatever.
Jacksonville had a great draft since you were about to say it.
Jacksonville Jaguars won the NFL draft. I will say that hands down. They went more on the defensive side of things because they are set.
What they need.
They're set offensively with Blake Bortles and TJ Yeldon. And both
Julius Thomas.
Julius. Well, they have three great wide receivers.
Hearns,
Robinson, and Thomas.
Yeah.
And Thomas is a tight end.
They could use some help on the O-line, but yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll give you 4 teams. I thought Jacksonville had a good draft. I thought Tennessee had a great draft.
Yes, Derrick Henry.
In their maneuvering.
They went crazy.
I thought Oakland, for the 3rd straight year, had a great draft. When the Raiders started drafting well 2 years ago, I knew that this turnaround was about to take place. I thought their defensive picks were fantastic. Oakland started to draft for a need, and it's a weird area to be with the Raiders drafting for a need all of a sudden. And lastly, and this one was a little bit of a surprise, I think, to some people, but when you break down their draft, I think they got a lot of value picks. I thought the Cowboys had a really good draft, too. They got Malik Collins in the middle rounds. They got
Ezekiel Elliott.
They got Ezekiel, but who was their other pick?
Jalen Smith.
The Dak pick. I love the Prescott pick.
Yes. Yeah, that was so interesting.
Yeah. I thought the Cowboys had a kind of like a splash draft, but like
definitely
a smart draft at the same time. You know, like good value picks in the right rounds. They didn't reach, and players just kind of fell into their laps. I mean, I think Ezekiel's going to be great. So they drafted because the Cowboys are the other team in the top 10 that I think weren't as bad last year as their record indicated. The Cowboys can certainly bounce back this year. Yeah. So to take Ezekiel was smart, I think, and then to play for the future at the same time with Prescott.
Going back to Jacksonville, Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, and then I don't even know Yannick Ngakoue, I guess. Ngakoue. Defensive end out of Maryland, Sheldon Day, defensive tackle, Notre Dame, Tyrone Holmes, outside linebacker from Montana. And then they got a quarterback in Brandon Allen from Arkansas, and then Jonathan Woodward, defensive end, Central Arkansas. So you have basically 6 picks, that were all defensively concentrated on. And that worked out so well, I think, for them, because now the Jacksonville Jaguars might be set. Yes, they had a bad record last year. 4-12 did not seem like the Cowboys. To me, I thought Jacksonville was better than their record. That it didn't indicate how their season went. 4-12, I thought they had a far better. I felt like they went 500 with the way things went for them offensively. They just needed defensive help, and that's what happened this year. They went into the draft. They got 2 great players in Ramsey and in Jack, cornerback, outside linebacker. They added defensive line help. They put in another linebacker in Holmes from Montana. Jacksonville Jaguars certainly, I think, did a great job in the draft. I love what you said, though, with the Tennessee Titans. They also, too, they did well. They got an offensive tackle, help for Marcus Mariota. They got Kevin Dodd out of Clemson. Very important defensive help right there. Then they got a nose tackle in Austin Johnson from Penn State. And then Derrick Henry. Perfect. Absolutely perfect fit. You put Mariota there. If he needs to hand the ball off, not run all the time, he's got the big man Derrick Henry right behind him to do it. I think the Titans, I'm glad you said that. I think they also won this draft too with the Jaguars.
I think one underappreciated team would, in my opinion, is the Houston Texans.
Texans had a very good draft.
I think they went I think they did exactly what they needed to do. They got Nick Fuller and then Braxton Miller, which I was like, wow, really? And I know they was Zach Martin's little brother that they drafted as well, Nick Martin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Houston is quietly building like one of the best offenses in the league.
Did you mention Will Fuller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will
Oh, my
Fuller.
gosh.
So now they have Hopkins, Fuller, Braxton Miller, Lamar Miller at running back, and we've been talking about him this whole time. Brock Osweiler. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know about Brock Osweiler.
Well, that's the
yet.
thing.
Let's
That's the thing
just
is like
see.
give him enough, and how bad can he be?
Yeah,
Exactly,
this is
yeah.
that's the thing. Like it's up to Brock now. There is no excuse having that's those sort of weapons, and then a defense that's as solid as Houston's is.
Houston clearly drafted for need. I mean, they have a built defense. They were like, let's go win it now. I mean, they if you sign Brock in the offseason, you're saying let's go win it now. And sometimes though, like teams have glaring needs. Like how many years did the Chiefs need a wide receiver and refuse to take one in the draft? And so like sometimes you see teams have glaring needs, they don't do it. So like I think that like when a team like Houston is clearly just like it's obviously slanted towards the defensive side, like if you just do enough on the offensive side in the draft, you'll be fine. When they go after that and do that, then yes, that's a positive draft as well. Now, I mean, Will Fuller's raw, but like he's
so
a weapon.
good.
Yeah, he's a weapon.
So good. When I saw the Texans got him, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just found who I'm going to be adding to my fantasy draft league. I mean, make sure I get Hopkins and make sure I get Fuller because, oh my goodness, they're going to be putting up crazy amount of points now. Of course, they're going to have to share the football, but still, that's just going to be that's just absolutely wild for Houston. That's basically it as far as good team. We could go into the teams that were bad and crap.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Pretty much summarizing it all up right there. I think that summarizes the NFL draft, or wraps up the NFL draft, I guess. Any other final thoughts on the NFL draft?
Roberto Aguayo with the 59th pick overall. Isn't that where he went?
Yeah, he went in the second round.
Yeah. Like the end of the second round to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
deplorable.
Yeah. And
Anyway.
of course, Mr. Irrelevant. You love Mr. Irrelevant, Brent. I know you do.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's always cool just seeing who it is and how they handle it and stuff. And it's usually a punter or a kicker and not, what is this guy, offensive lineman this time? Or a cornerback.
Yeah,
It's a cornerback. Yeah.
Southern Miss.
Yeah, right.
Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kalen Reed, yeah.
Oh, man. Good
I always
stuff.
like seeing who it is. That's probably the most interesting pick, aside from number one, is the last, to me.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's fair. It's delay of game.
This is Delay of Game.
A sports talk podcast. Available on YouTube and online at thedelayofgamepodcast.wordpress.com.
All right, so now we're going to get into the rant, all-inclusive rant, and the point of the rant today is kind of everybody's just going to bash on each other when it comes to their favorite team. So this is how it's going to go before I get the intro playing here. It's going to be me versus Matt, which you can probably imagine is going to be Cubs versus Mets, so that's what that is. Then it's going to be interesting because we've talked about it enough, and I'm glad we got the draft out of the way because now it can be Matt versus Brent, a.k.a. Broncos versus Ravens. I'm really interested to see how that one goes. And then, of course, Brent and I are going to go after each other because last week Brent said, top 3 sporting events that you wanted to watch, and he listed all football, and he didn't list any basketball. And I'm just going to rip him apart for how wrong he is when it comes to that.
Gosh, all right.
Gonna go into
Tell me when I can
fundamentals.
wake up.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's get this thing going here. Where is it?
It's now time for a little R&R.
Ryan's rant, that is. Back to the explosion of a topic that Ryan has in store for today's podcast.
Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Take it out!
There's something that's just really bothering the guy, and now you're about to find out what it is.
You gotta be kidding me! Nobody's tackling anybody! Do it live!
There's some absurd things going on in the world of sports, and Ryan's pretty fired up about them.
Hello? You kidding me?
They are who we thought they were. and we let him off the hook.
That's not true!
And now, here's the original delay of game produced, Ryan's Rant.
Who said that?
Oh, am I fired up for this one? Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. I'll get to that in a minute. Oh boy. All right, so it begins because he's been. Let's be real. He's been doing this to me the whole time. I saying, "Where's your Cubs stuff?" I'm like, that was more of like a Devin Cleach impersonation. That's just all I know how to do. You can't impersonate Matt Rigby because he's just got his own style. It's like looking at me like, what a crazy fool you are. You know,
he's got that Matt Rigby smile.
That was bad too. See, I just can't do it. It's just.
Well, I don't get.
Yeah. That's how I feel right now. I just can't impersonate him. You know.
The undefinable.
Exactly. You know. Now Devin Cleach is easy. It's like, hey, bud, how about your match, bud? Not doing too good over there. But they are because they're winning. They've won. They're winning. Well, I don't know if they're winning right now. But they've won 8 straight.
Leadoff runner on bottom of the first.
Yeah, see, he's watching it right now as I get ready to tear him apart and to tell him why the Cubs are now the new regime in baseball. And oh, what's the matter, buddy? What's the matter, buddy?
What does that mean?
I'm wearing. This is the closest thing. I'm waiting till we go golfing to wear anything Cubs stuff. Because that's what I'm going to do.
What does that mean, the new regime in baseball? What have the Cubs ever won? I'm trying to figure out.
Well, they got the NLDS last year.
They won the
like
wild
15
card
games
game.
or something.
They won the wild
They
card
won
game.
97. They have won 15 games, actually 16 games right now. Yeah, they are.
Where's the 2015 NL pennant flying?
Well, unfortunately,
that's right, Citi Field.
Yeah, it's in New York because yes, pitching is better than offense, I guess, in that. But that was all rookies. It was rookie pitching versus rookie hitting. But the great thing about it is that hitting always has to adjust, my friend. So I can't wait to do a repeat of last year's regular season and sweep all 7 games that the Cubs and Mets play one another. Is it 7? Is it 6? I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. Here's the thing you need to understand about Ryan is that
here we go.
And really Cubs fans in general is that they take solace in regular season victories. Like, what's a regular season victory?
As fans of bad teams do.
Yeah, you know, like they're like, oh man, good effort by the boys today. Like, I'll see you in October. Like, what are we talking about here? What's that? Who's that? What are we talking about?
Practice, Allen Iverson.
Yeah, Allen Iverson. What are we talking about, man?
I mean, listen, we talking about practice. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the regular season. Like, what the 7-0 in the regular season? Like that mattered to me when the Mets were tearing apart the decrepit, crammed, paint falling off the walls visitors clubhouse at Wrigley Field, like making sure that they got out of there in time before the entire stadium collapsed because it's 9,000 years old. Like, that's what I was worrying about. Regular season wins.
Might be popular, but vintage rules, my friend. Vintage always wins and rules. And it's not that old now. There's some nice restoration going on.
This is coming from a Golden State Warriors fan?
Yeah.
Vintage. Okay.
What? You keep thinking that this, like, I've just became a fan within the last 2 years. 09-10, my friend.
That's not that.
10.
Like 6, maybe 7 years does not count as vintage, all right?
I'm not saying that.
I have a question for Cubs fans.
Oh,
not for you, though.
You gotta be kidding me!
I don't think you fall into this category as much, but I want to know if they can still, like, if they still have their name on the lease for the rock that they were living under for 10 years when the Cubs were doing nothing. Because I paid my dues as a Met fan. Like, I was there through, we'll start listing them. I survived 2007.
I was just going to say,
2008.
let's take a trip back down memory lane and the fall from grace beginning in the postseason of 2006.
I survived.
And then the collapse in 07, and then the collapse in 08, and then the same collapse in 09.
But here's the thing. I survived all those, and I never went anywhere. And, like, I'm not saying this about you with the Cubs, but when I see Joe Schmo walking down the street, walking down O Street with his entire Cubs regalia on,
you probably ran into Michael Snow.
I need to ask him, where were you in 2009? Because I didn't see you wearing this then. I just but all at the same time, like, what have the Cubs won? I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, what is this regime change to what? Like,
it's the youth movement, my friend. It's the youth movement. Now, one of them is hurt, but
what have the Cubs won? That's all I need to ask you. I'll take your time. Go ahead. Tell me what the Cubs have won.
A lot of fandom, that's for sure.
Fandom.
A lot of fandom. The
Cubs have won fandom. We have the largest fan base.
But hey, you know what? The thing is if we're talking centuries right now, in this century, what have the Mets won either?
The NL pennant.
Yeah.
Now,
it's not the trophy of all trophies, my friend.
This is where I get into trouble, I realize, because they lost in the World Series.
And then they collapsed for the next 3 years.
They've actually won 2 NL pennants in this century as well. They won the pennant in 2000. So,
we can say that we have been to the NL pennant. We have been to the NLCS probably the same amount of time as the Mets have.
How many have the Cubs won? How many of those series have they won? I'm just curious.
They have won none.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they've won none.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We'll all still roll out and sing "Go Cubs Go" after every 50th win in October.
We absolutely will. They're singing "Go Cubs Go." It's the greatest song ever. Go Cubs Go. In Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win.
Choke Cubs choke. Choke Cubs.
What is choking? I think the Mets would know more about what that is. It just
rhymes with go.
Oh.
Kind of,
Yeah.
The Cubs aren't really known for choking.
I will say this.
In order to choke, you have to actually get to a spot that allows you to choke in the first place.
Well, that's the thing. We get there, we don't relinquish it.
That's the exciting thing about the Cubs this year is now they're set up to choke. I love that Cubs fans have these expectations
So are the Mets.
now.
So are the Mets.
Sure.
2007, 2008 are calling. They want a return trip to whatever airport that is that's right by Citi Field.
LaGuardia.
Yeah, ignoring planes that fly right over in the middle of the ball game. I mean, at least at Wrigley you can deal with the freaking trains going by and the fire station.
That's a good point, though. The Mets have choked throughout their entire 55-year history, but I am aware of that, and I wear it as like a crown almost, whereas like the Cubs fans pretend that like they're just this lovable loser mantra.
Now, see, I don't buy into that crap.
Okay,
I don't buy into that crap.
But
I know
you realize it
exists.
You realize it exists.
Oh, I know it exists. Yeah, it's kind of like the steroid thing. We can acknowledge that it happened. We don't need to respect it. That's what I treat the lovable loser crap thing.
I hate
it's like,
the Cubs.
That's no. I know.
I hate the Cubs.
No, I don't hate the Mets. I just wanted to see how far you would go and let you release a little bit of frustration that I know you have towards me for being a Cubs fan. Now, I am kind of your mentor, if you remember, for broadcasting purposes, but it's okay. Because sometimes the student needs to feel like he's better than the teacher.
Ooh.
Just before he gets put back into his little place.
Wow.
What place is Ryan talking about?
This is getting personal.
Brent, ask Ryan who won the NLCS last year.
Who won the NLCS?
Who won the NLCS, Brent? I don't know.
It's the Mets.
Some team in New York. Thankfully, not the Yankees.
I remember how sad Ryan was, too. I remember he was like, oh, well, I'm just hoping. This is before Game 4. Oh, well, I'm just hoping, but that's all I'm doing is hoping, like the Mets are just the better team. Blah, blah, blah. That's that feeling of resignation. Where'd that go?
Hey, at least I accepted it. I accepted the fact that, it was over.
Here's my problem, though. I'll make it one last final.
Jab?
No, it's not even a jab. It's just a grievance, an airing of a grievance.
You've got your paperwork filled out.
Right, and because I'm going to do this with the Broncos until next February. Until next February, the reigning Super Bowl champion will be the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, that's right.
Until next October, this October, the reigning National League champion will be the Mets. So talk to me when they're not, basically, is what I'm saying. You know, like...
But
Cubs
the
are
thing is
17 and 5. That doesn't
win a
mean
World
anything.
Series.
I know, but
they lost to a team from the Midwest who has a stadium that holds only 35,000 people at max.
But they won the National League, and like
but
the Cubs haven't won
Series,
anything. The Cubs. Okay, but here's the thing. I'm fine with the Royals telling me that.
Oh my God!
I'm fine with the Royals walking around with a badge of honor, but why did the Cubs fans walk around with a badge of honor? What have they won?
Exactly.
Come find me when they win. I'll meet me at, like Noah Syndergaard said, meet me at 60 feet 6 inches. Go handle it there.
I'm not going to fight you about it. Come on now, Eric. Good Lord.
No, I'll stand in the batter's box. Throw me an Arrieta slider.
Yeah. That you'll strike out on.
I'll Dan Murphy it over the fence.
Okay. What did the Cubs win? What did Jake Arrieta win?
See, this is another
You
Cubs
have
thing.
Harvey, you have Syndergaard, you have Matz, you have the whole entire rotation. Big, sexy Bartolo Colon. And Jake Arrieta won the Cy Young.
This is another fun Cubs thing. Oh, we won Manager of the Year, and we won Cy Young, and we won Rookie of the Year, but the Mets won. The Mets won the NLCS, but that's okay. We'll just forget about that. We'll just focus on those other.
It's not a World Series title, bud. It's not a World Series title, bud.
This
bud.
Hello.
I mean, Brent needs to decide here.
Brent needs to decide.
I feel like my argument holds more water.
Well, yeah, it does. It does. Let's be real. I'm just trying to salvage what I can. You know.
Yeah.
Poor Michael Snow. This is what I felt like when I was battling by myself against Connor Happer and Michael Snow on the steroids talk. It was like, you know. Yeah.
He's more of a tall fescue type of guy.
Yeah, sure.
Fescue.
Exactly.
Got me all excited now.
Oh, Michael Snow. All right, I'm stepping aside here and saving up to deal with Brent's crap. Now Brent can deal with Matt Rigby's crap. Okay, go. Broncos versus Ravens. Matt Rigby, Brent Bonfleur.
Okay, so Brent and I discussed this before we started recording, but
you just gave us a preview.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited.
Okay, so here is why I hate the Ravens, and I hate 10 NFL teams, just like I hate 10 Major League Baseball teams.
Very specific.
Yeah, they're all in order too, and the Ravens fall about number 9. But they reserved that spot probably permanently because, and this is nothing against the Ravens. This is just like exercising my demons. Like the Cubs, I hate the Cubs. I don't hate the Ravens. I hate what the Ravens did to me. I sat in section 514, 3 rows from the top. It was a party because, anyway, the Broncos had won 10 in a row. This is what year is this? 2013. So it happened in 13. So the 2012-13 season. Yeah, it happened in January of 13. The Broncos had won 10 in a row. They were the number 1 seed coming into the playoffs. They were the only team in the NFL that had a top 5 ranked offense and defense. Peyton was at the top of his game, maybe the pinnacle of his career, because then he continued that into the next season when he broke all the records and the Broncos went to the Super Bowl. And it was just, I don't know if you remember this. It was either 15 or 16. The Broncos went into Baltimore and demolished the Ravens. I mean, just absolutely demolished them. That game was a blowout. I remember Chris Harris had a pick 6 that he picked it off at the Ravens were driving. They had it at the Broncos 2-yard line. Harris picked it off and went to the house, and that was it was a total annihilation. And you're just like, man, like people who kind of don't pay attention to the trends of the NFL as much. We're like, oh, it happened once, it'll happen again. But I had this feeling when I walked into the stadium that day. I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like one of these wild cards is going to beat one of these top seeds. But then Trenton Holiday takes the opening kickoff back, and I was like, oh, that feeling was stupid. The Broncos are going to win this game. And then he takes the opening kickoff of the second half back, or he took the opening punt return back. Takes the opening kickoff of the second half back, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Broncos are going to win this thing. And then they really look like they're going to win it with about 4 minutes left. And the party has begun. In section 514, we're all so happy and so jovial. And It's, what was it, 4th down and 98 or however many yards they had to
Might
go.
as well have been.
And Raheem Moore, you had one job. You had one job, man. You just got to go break up the pass.
Right. Don't get beat deep.
The crazy thing is our season tickets are parallel to right where that play happened, right at about the 20-yard line. And I love taking people through this. I'm standing in the stadium, and I'm totally jovial. And they couldn't get Flacco. They were chasing him around. I was like, okay, he'll throw a prayer up. We'll go pick it. And he throws it up, and I see Raheem Moore coming over because, the safety covers over the top on that cover too. And I'm like, oh, he's going to pick it. And I'm watching him go over. But then, like, in a split second, I realize, oh, no, he's going to undercut it. And, like, I'll never forget this. Like, you guys can see me right now, but no one else can. But it's okay. My face was like, as I saw that he was going to undercut it.
Yeah.
And then he undercuts
Disbelief.
it. And who was it even caught the ball? Jacoby Jones caught that pass?
Yeah.
Jacoby Jones catches it, and I turned around, and I slammed my hat to the ground, and, like, just in total disbelief. And then we all know what happens from there.
Right.
But what I just...
gotta be kidding me!
What I just described to you. Now, you have to remember, too, that with the wind chill, this game was a -7 degrees.
Really?
And it went into double overtime.
Oh,
I
man.
sat through 2 overtimes in -7 degrees. I must have been outside for 9-10 straight hours to watch this. And But that scenario I just described to you, this has never happened to me before as a sports fan. It never even happened to me as, like, a player. And, we had, like, when I played football, we had some crushing losses and stuff. I was sleeping that night, and I woke up in a cold sweat at, like, 3:30 in the morning. And all I could see was Raheem Moore undercutting the ball. It's all I could see. And
Just
like
reliving it in the night.
I didn't talk to anyone for like 3 weeks because I was so invested in the Broncos at that time in my life. So for that reason,
That's
I have
wonderful.
always, my mom and I like to do this thing because we're Met fans and we're total masochists. We like to do this thing where we rank the top 5, or I guess it would be the bottom 5 worst defeats that we've ever had to sit through in our lives. And that is without a doubt the worst defeat.
Really?
That was worse than the Super Bowl 2 years later. That was without a doubt the worst defeat I've ever had.
Gosh, yeah.
So
great story.
That is a wonderful story.
I hate the Ravens. See, Brent, I feel like Brent now doesn't even want to like bash me, like he feels bad for me.
Take shots at him. He just killed me.
Joe Flacco hurt you. That's
day part of it too. Is it turns
Denver.
into this whole thing where like, who did that? Joe Flacco did that, and then that started the whole "is Joe Flacco elite" thing because when he went on the Super Bowl run, and like, I don't even mind Joe Flacco, but forever and eternity now, like, Joe Flacco is just this total fraud to me, and I'm like, yeah, remember that one game where Joe Flacco off his back foot just threw up a 90-yard prayer and it worked?
Not very much fun, is it? No. Yeah, I'm not gonna have anything to top that, but I remember very well and very poignantly. The opening game, was it the next year?
Oh yeah, yep.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was the next year because it was
game. Yep.
the 7 touchdown game. That was a lot of fun. It was high expectations. That was against my better judgment, right? Because I was in my grace period. It just started, but still I had high expectations. I'm like, all right, this will be competitive. No, I remember sitting in my apartment watching each one, and Peyton just carved him. What was it, like 500 yards? Did he hit 500? It was in 400
my
for
mom's
sure.
got a little poster of it in our living room with the stats of
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was one of the best quarterback performances of all time.
Well, she was there, so she wanted
Number-wise.
to commemorate it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I don't ever go to the openers. My mom always goes to the openers, and I don't. I went to the first Peyton game against Pittsburgh, the first Peyton Broncos game, but other than that, she always goes to the openers. So I think it was 472 was the yard total.
Something ridiculous.
7 touchdowns, 472.
I don't think he had any picks, or maybe one pick.
No, I don't think he
had
threw a pick in
any.
that
Yeah,
game.
it was like almost a perfect game. And to make matters worse, my roommate at the time we were also playing in fantasy football, and he had Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas. So that was a pretty rough night.
Well, but let me ask you, because I have this thought that like regionally, where back home, the Broncos are kind of hated. I think that there are some Chiefs fans here that hate them, but I think on a national scale, the Broncos are pretty well liked. I
think they're America's team.
Yeah, because like I mean, did you guys see that Gatorade Dear Peyton commercial where they kind of they had a bunch of people who he had written all those letters to? I just watched it for the first time yesterday, but Peyton had always written letters to everyone, and they had everyone he had written letters to, or not everyone, but a lot of people, they had him on the commercial reading back portions of the letters, and then at the end they're like, thank you, Peyton, like they were writing him a letter in the end. And it was just this, I remember watching the commercial thinking to myself, how in the world can anyone dislike Peyton Manning? Like, he's just, and so, like, it makes you unable to really dislike the Broncos. So, like, I guess my overall question is, you don't really hate the Broncos, right? I mean, like...
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I don't really hate the Ravens either. I just hate what they did to me, from then on out, I'm like... But when the Ravens play the Steelers, I always root for the Ravens. I like what the Ravens. I like what the Ravens represent way more than the Steelers. I like Harbaugh. I like I love Terrell Suggs. I used to love Ray Lewis. I think that their defensive mentality over all those years was fun to watch. So I don't hate the Ravens.
No, the Broncos are probably my second favorite team, and then it goes to Jacksonville. But no, I don't hate the Broncos at all. They don't play enough for me to hate them. Yeah, if they played more, I mean, it's always a good game. Well, not that one time, but it's typically a good game when they play. So no.
Week 1 this year was a good game.
What?
Week 1.
What did they win by?
They won on the Aqib Talib pick 6, so I think they only won by a touchdown.
Okay, yeah. So
the way the Broncos won every game with their defense.
Yeah, right. And the way the Ravens lost every game.
What the Broncos are to you and what the Ravens are to you, that's how the Mets are for me. Like,
that's one thing
I'm disappointed that the Cubs lost to the Mets that way, but I don't hate the Mets. I don't have beef with them. I have beef with the White Sox, with the Yankees, with the beef with the Cardinals is finally actually starting to take off, and then the Marlins, just because of 2003, just because it's like 5 outs away. 5 outs away.
Well, like, you make a good point, though. Like, what constitutes, like, hatred for a team? I think some of it constitutes locale. Like, when I was living in Monterey, I grew a forever lasting hatred for every Bay Area sports team that will never go away. When I leave here, I will leave with a forever lasting hatred of any team that exists in Kansas City or Chicago. And it's just this thing where you're at, if you're not if you're an implant, I guess, then that happens. Or it's like what you just talked about, Ryan. It has to be fresh. Like, it has to be like right now I hate the Cubs because it's fresh. Like, this is a fresh rivalry. But long-lasting hatreds for me, like, one of the things I always have to remember with baseball is, sure, I hate the Cubs right now and I hate the Royals right now, but I will always hate the Yankees. I will always hate the Phillies more than other teams. I will always hate the Raiders. Haven't been good in 16 years, but I will always hate the Raiders more than any other football team. So it's just, I mean, I keep using the word hate. It makes me sound so
very
vitriolic.
Angry person,
you got a hug or something.
Mean and nasty boy over here.
But
he's just nasty.
This is how it is. I hate this is.
That's not true.
You guys wanted me to unload. I'm unloading.
Hey,
Ryan, you brought this on yourself.
No, I didn't. Well, that was the point. I didn't care. I knew it was coming, but it was just kind of like something I've always wanted to do, And I'm giving poor Matt Rigby here the chance to just, release that little bit of frustration that he had at me, because he sees me and it's like, God darn it, there goes that stupid Cubs fan again. But yet he helped me with broadcasting, so he's just like this constant conflict inside of his heart of, does he hate me? Does he not hate me?
Is that at all accurate?
I was thinking about it.
Got him! Yes! Got it! It's good!
Well, no, to an extent, like, I get what he's saying. Like Ryan probably thinks that this is, like, totally professional. Like, you have to understand, I'm an immature sports fan still. So, like, Ryan probably thinks this is, like, totally professional on my part, to where, like, because, we've helped each other with broadcasting, he's helped me a lot, and, we're colleagues in that sense, that, like,
and I've never seen you in a true sports setting.
He really hasn't.
I haven't seen the fan part of
you. You haven't, right? You haven't seen me, like, at a game. Like,
you
haven't seen me like when Bryce Harper hits a home run. Like, you haven't seen that against the Mets. Like, you haven't seen that part of me yet. But, like, and so I've always tried to be professional. But I think he probably views it to the point where, like, okay, if we're professional about this, I can bring up the Cubs and we can have a normal conversation about it. Right. And we can, but I feel like he can see me, like, gritting my teeth, you know, like, and
I
he's
can see
always
the
been able
steam
to
coming
see
out of
it.
your ears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I mean, if you want to talk about the Cubs,
Yeah,
you know, like, I guess
exactly.
we can talk about
like
the Cubs.
literally last week, I get out of my car. He walks over to me from his truck. He says, "Man, I hate the Cubs." It's like, well, good morning
What do you
to
remember?
sir.
Remember what I did too? I was looking at your little license plate cover. And I was just staring at it. Like, what is this?
You baseball fans are so cute.
Yeah, exactly. See, now I
Right.
wanted to. That's what I originally wanted to argue with you was baseball versus football. But I knew
gonna lose,
that no, I'm not going to lose. But we've talked about enough baseball as it is because I've already covered that with him. So we got to give basketball some love. So that is why now I'm going to tear you apart and tell you why basketball is so much better than football, my friend.
What?
Yes.
I probably like baseball more than I like basketball.
Why? Basketball is so much more exciting.
Well, anything's more exciting than baseball, yeah, but then football? No way. Not even close. It doesn't matter.
There are delays in football. There are delays in baseball. In basketball, it's constant motion.
Who cares?
It's constant movement. Something is constantly happening.
Pass, shoot, nope, rebound, pass, shoot, nope, rebound, pass, bucket, okay, pass, bucket.
Dunks, clutch three-pointers.
Yeah, there's like maybe 2 in a whole game and it lasts for like 6 seconds.
It's exciting.
Here's the thing I think separates the excitement level of basketball and football in no level, and this is across levels. I mean, like, it doesn't matter whether it's pro, college, high school even, is like and I know this could be argued, but you get the sense when you're watching that the beginning of a football game matters so much more than the beginning of a basketball game. So
that I agree with.
So
yes.
like late game basketball is like sweaty palms.
Yeah,
you know, like
it's
that is
it's
that
one of the
is
more
fun.
exciting things in sports.
But like football is a constant. It's just like a 3-hour sprint. You know,
Right.
like start to finish.
Right.
So like that's where I kind of would side with Brent. But I played football too. You know, so like. I can attest to the excitement of a football game. You know, I would say it's the most exciting sport, like no doubt. I think, have you been to an NFL game?
Oh, it's been years, but I have. But it's been
to one,
years.
right?
I've never been
You've
to
never
one.
been to one.
I've never even been to a college game.
You never went to a Nebraska game?
I never got to. No, I worked with KRNU the whole time.
You were at the. Okay, you need to clarify that. You were
Oh,
at the
yes,
games.
okay.
You weren't there.
I've
as
never
a
attended as a
fan.
fan,
Yes.
though, and I
As
was
in
not-
sat in the stand.
I rarely focused on
So
the
I mean,
game.
I've been to all 4 pro sporting events, and like, I mean, I'm a baseball fan first and foremost, and I'm probably a hockey fan second ahead of football. But there is no environment like going to an NFL game. Like, it is the most exciting.
That's the
It's
only
not
thing,
even close.
That's the only thing I haven't been to in the last 10 years.
You gotta go.
I've been to an NBA game. Obviously, I've been to so many college and football, basketball games, baseball, obviously. But I have not. That's the only thing that I haven't been to in the last 10. Now, I have been to an NFL game, but when I was like a baby, like less than 3 years old. So that's the only thing that I would still like to go to is probably a Chiefs game because of how loud
it's crazy.
it gets there.
Okay, yeah,
it's
go
unbelievable.
ahead. You guys go back at
I'll give you this. I do enjoy watching the Husker women's basketball team play. That's pretty exciting.
I can't.
No, I'm
tell.
serious.
Are you sure?
I like watching their games. Yeah, but that shows you how boring basketball is. I'd rather watch that than
Wow, that's.
an NBA game.
I feel like that's a trap for me to say something really stupid, and then I'm gonna get.
I don't need to
scolded
set
for
up a trap for you for that to happen.
Yeah,
but,
obviously. That's why I need to be very careful here.
It doesn't.
Are you
Basketball
okay?
games don't matter. They're like baseball games. They don't.
Are you?
The game
you
itself
kidding me?
never matters, except for very rare circumstances at the end of the
You
year.
were at the you were at the Wisconsin game, right? No, you engineered it.
Yeah.
You engineered Nebraska-Wisconsin when Nebraska beat them. You remember hearing the excitement in my voice and how unbelievably wild it was at Pinnacle Bank Arena? That to me is the Super Bowl victory for you for the Broncos.
Yeah, so
Nebraska, Wisconsin, and seeing 3 after 3 after 3 get drilled, and that place going nuts. I'm talking 16,000 fans just blowing the sound levels out of Pinnacle Bank Arena. No standing room left The Wisconsin Badgers, the team that everybody in the state of Nebraska hates. Mm-hmm. Although Iowa's really right there too now, but to hear that entire arena just go off. Yeah. Go absolutely wild.
Well, that one particular moment,
Dunks
very
exciting. No, it wasn't a moment. It was a continuous game.
Yeah.
From the opening tip all the way to the end when they stormed the court. It was energy the whole time.
Yeah.
And it has been, now Nebraska since then has kind of dropped off and not been as good, although the Ohio State game was good.
I mean, because compare that to when
there
Auburn...
There have been so many other games. The Golden State Warriors. Here comes my Warriors part.
Oh, don't even talk to me about a Warriors game. There hasn't been an exciting Warriors game ever.
Oracle Arena explodes. They just keep... When Klay Thompson went off for a 40-point quarter and just dropped 3 after 3 after 3. They were going nuts in there. Who cares if they were blowing them out by a mile? You're telling me you get it takes 4 minutes sometimes to get a touchdown? 15 plays?
4 minutes?
4 minutes.
Okay, how about Oregon? When
the
year that Oregon was averaging a touchdown every 51 seconds, you're going to tell me that basketball is more exciting than that?
Yeah, because Golden State is the equivalent of that right now. That was a whole season. Right now, Golden State, whole season.
Not even close.
The Golden State Warriors and the Oregon Ducks are the same.
The intensity is nowhere near. The intensity is nowhere near.
Yes, stop it.
No, it's not.
Stop that.
No, it's not. And you can't pick out any single moment in a basketball game and tell me that's more exciting than any moment you can pick from a football game.
That's not true.
The Auburn failed a field goal return for a touchdown against Alabama.
That was a moment.
Yeah.
That was a moment.
Yeah, and it's better than any moment. And any Oregon game from that year is better than any single basketball game from any of your Warriors' beloved seasons. It's just not.
Are you ready to lose this argument, Brent?
Sure. It's not even on the same level. This isn't even an argument, because an argument implies there's a chance for both sides.
2016 national championship Villanova buzzer beater.
Ah.
Bam! That is the equivalent of
kick six.
What's his name?
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis. That is the equivalent of Chris Davis's kick six or punt return six or whatever the hell it is.
Not even close.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Not even
it
close.
Is.
That's not true.
It so is.
No.
A buzzer beater to win a national championship game?
Or a
It was a kick six to win a regular old football game
against
Alabama.
No, that was
the regular season.
That decided a national championship.
That did not decide.
Yes, it did.
They lost to Florida State.
Yeah, but they beat Alabama, who probably would have beat Florida State.
No, that's not true. That is not true. It was not a good year for Alabama that year anyway. Come on.
Whatever.
Give me a break.
Dude,
You gotta be kidding me.
Every single football game matters so much more than any of those games.
And you're telling me that March Madness doesn't?
No, March Madness is very exciting. Yes, I agree.
Oh, my God, Brent.
But it's still, March Madness, that's every single game.
I just even you out a buzzer beater
season
to win the national championship for Villanova.
Is that better than winning a Super Bowl on a Hail Mary? No.
But that hasn't happened.
I'm sure it's happened at some point.
It's never happened.
Okay, well then even just a regular season game, that's more exciting. To see a Hail Mary.
That's regular season.
And it's still more exciting.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, stop. No.
It means so much more. It's so much more difficult to do.
I think that at this point we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Well, that was always going to be.
He just beat me to a pulp. And you guys shook hands. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
Well, this isn't even an argument, which is why...
it is. I just told you. I just proved the points.
No.
I just proved the points.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Bam!
There's nothing to prove. Any moment, any game, any season in football is more exciting than any moment, any game, any season in basketball.
I know where you stand. You stand with the football side, yeah.
Well, one of the things I've been thinking about, too, is, I think football is helped out too by being a collision sport. Like that makes like a collision is more exciting than a 3. I'm sorry, like it just.
Yeah.
Is.
What
like,
about the
like
dunk?
you don't like think
you
about
posterize somebody?
No, like think about when you see someone get blown up like that. Right. Like woo, we love it. Like that's America. That's why football is taking off so.
And I say the posterization of somebody is the same thing as that.
The Raheem Moore pass, that play was so exciting for both sides. Obviously different emotions for each one. But that play to come back and push it to overtime in a game that ultimately wound up probably deciding the Super Bowl, it's just on a whole nother level because that play is so unlikely to happen. It's not that we see buzzer beater 3s to win games all the time.
I'm not just saying buzzer beater 3s, Brent.
Even if it's in the national championship, we've seen that before.
I'm not saying buzzer beater 3s in general. There's so much more to basketball. So much more.
Nah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna agree to disagree.
All right, fine.
Because that's where
we just got to move on. I get it, but yeah.
No, well, no, stop.
It's not even a debate.
That's not true.
There is no sport
You better double check that, my friend.
more exciting than football.
At least basketball isn't a dying sport.
No major sport.
You're not getting people retiring because they're getting, broken ankles or, busting their elbows or getting whacked in the face.
Which one is worth more money? Which one has a bigger fan base?
Which one is more devastating?
Well, probably the football. I'm not saying it's a saintly thing, but if you want excitement, I'm watching a football game over a basketball game every single time.
I'm playing fantasy football.
Matt said the best. It's a 3-hour sprint. Have you ever sprinted?
Basketball games are way shorter than that.
Yeah, I know.
I like an hour.
They're not sprints. They're slog fest for the first 3 quarters.
A football game, every play matters in a football game.
Every possession matters in basketball.
I mean, ultimately,
especially if it turns into a one
in every
possession
sport,
game.
yes, but there are so much fewer possessions in a football game that they matter more.
You can argue certainly that every play of every sport of every game matters, but it doesn't feel like this matters in basketball. I'm not on the edge of my seat for the possession in the first quarter when the score is 4-2.
Yeah,
I'm on the edge of my seat for the first possession of a football game.
Exactly, and I'm not either. I'm not at the edge of my seat for basketball or for football. I'm saying it takes longer for a play to develop and to get going in football than it does in basketball.
You don't like the huddle? Like you don't like the downtime?
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying that's the separation that I see between
it's timing.
One of the separations, I should say, that I see between basketball and football.
So you'd be more exciting watching like a 2-mile race than a 100-meter sprint? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's different. That's actually running. Now I get what you're trying to point out.
It's just
but
timing.
To me, I see it as
a football game is.
I'm not interested in track and field anyway, Brent.
Well, neither am I. A football game is 60 minutes of 100-yard sprints, and a basketball game is like that's like the steeplechase. Who watches the steeplechase?
Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah, whatever.
I disagree.
Well, all right.
That was fun. That was fun.
Sure.
I know you feel a little bit better. It's not gonna, take care of things officially. I'm not gonna be a converted man here. So, but I'm glad. I know you feel a little better about yourself that you could just dish that in my face and get that out of your system, right?
National League champions.
Yeah. Manager of the Year, Cy Young.
What is it?
But 1 is not 4. I get that. I definitely get that. So, it is what it is. What?
That ball was fair.
That's Matt Rigby watching Mets Giants on the home of the not-so-good announcers, especially Ron Darling.
That's a fair ball. That is
Ron
pathetic.
Darling. Oh, man, don't get me started. Let's just move away. Move away.
You're listening to Delay of Game,
a sports talk podcast. On Facebook.com/delayofgame and on Twitter DOG_podcast.
All right, well, Matt Rigby loses it over the Mets-Giants game. Let's get into the random facts, which basically is a quick summarization of the week in sports.
Time now for an original.
Hell yeah. Yeah!
The delay of game random facts.
Oh, Matt Rigby's show. Yeah, chalk. I see chalk. Yeah? Are they reviewing it?
You can't review fair foul.
Yeah, you can.
Not if it's over the bag. You can only review it down the line.
See, now that needs to change. That really does need to change pretty badly.
Ryan Swanigan.
Fact 1.
Okay, so I'll grab something. I got to make sure I don't grab the story that Matt Rigby grabs. That's for it's your world. We're just living in it. Luke Walton. Here we go. I'll take the basketball one. Luke Walton officially agreed to become the head coach of the Lakers. I don't know how that's going to go because he was already dealing with Steve Kerr's plays, and the Warriors were playing relaxed and having fun, and just, not that Steve Kerr, it puts pressure on his team. It was just they were like, let's play for Steve here. We got Luke Walton, Cool Hand Luke coaching us. What now?
My favorite movie of all time.
Cool Hand Luke? I'm not surprised. That does not surprise me at all.
Hands down, not even a question.
Classiest movie there is for the classiest person I know. One of, I should say. Now, Michael Dixon, I'm sure if he heard that, would be bolting in the store and say, hey, what about me? I was like, yeah, okay, yeah.
It's not very classy.
Other guy.
Look at Luke. Cool Hand Luke.
There you go. So Luke Walton going to the Lakers. I don't see that working out, but Kobe Bryant's not there, so... See what happens. I think Byron Scott was, he needed to not have Kobe Bryant there, but, I digress on that one anyways.
Brent Bonfleur. Fact 2.
All right, so Brent, you can choose from, Tom
I got my own.
Brady, ESPN.
I have my own random fact. Get out of here.
Oh, okay.
The Minnesota Vikings football. And they drafted Moritz Boehringer.
Yes, the German.
The German. From someplace in Germany. Schwäbisch Hall, from the Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns, is the team he formerly played for. Making him the first European player to be drafted without playing any amount of time in American college football.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing. That's really
Congrats,
cool.
Mr. Boehringer.
Yeah. The Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yes.
Mr. Göring.
Yeah, Mr. Göring. Have fun in the NFL. Quick other facts here.
In the NFL.
In the NFL. Oh, okay, we're getting weird. Yeah. Anyways, ESPN, to summarize all that, everybody's jumping ship. Bye-bye. Have fun. Tom Brady... I don't know about you guys. I am praying to God now because this is so dumb. But we have reached a point now where it involves the Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court, which is already dealing with a bunch of controversial, crazy crap as it is right now, could be dealing with the biggest controversial, crazy crap from sports. And the two could mix and... it could be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it is. So I am praying to God. And it sounds like, according to Fox Sports, on the 29th of April, that Tom Brady could be getting ready to make an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
Which is just like, that
NFL,
is
baby.
No, it's the dumbest thing ever. Because... the final score was 45-7.
But it matters.
In the pouring rain and cold. It wasn't snow. It was heavy rain and cold. Those conditions. It wasn't. It's just like. And the poor Indianapolis Colts are still dealing with this.
Yeah.
They're still dealing with this.
Yeah, they're the real victims here.
And it's like.
Just remember that.
Stop, please. I mean.
You gotta be kidding me!
Yeah, that sums it all up. So that's what's going on. I hope that goes to the Supreme Court. I really, 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 really do. Because it's going to be awesome if it happens.
Matt Rigby.
Fact 3.
I can't wait for this.
Okay, so D. Gordon got suspended for PEDs. And my first thought was that, and it's interesting because we just had this debate, Ryan, on Delay Game a couple weeks ago. My first thought was that PEDs are now in a weird spot in baseball, or PEDs in baseball are in a weird spot right now, because I think that when someone like D. Gordon gets suspended, we've lost We've lost the original intention of steroid testing. I mean, like, steroid testing, if you think about it, came about because fans, writers, players, coaches, execs alike looked at Barry Bonds and McGwire and said, these guys are cartoon characters and we need to do something about this because it's changing the game, blah, blah, blah. And I'm in no way I'm in no way defending what D. Gordon did because, I told you when we had that debate, I don't defend the act, I don't condone the act. But it almost feels like there is like we're testing for like stanzazole or something, which is like, sure, a steroid that is on the banned list, but like what does it help D. Gordon do? Steal bases? Like, I mean, he's not popping home runs over the fence,
exactly.
And it's the same thing with like okay, Henry Mejia just received a lifetime ban for his third failed test, and like Henry Mejia isn't like popping in 120-mile-an-hour fastballs with this huge build. Like, he's not like Roger Clemens.
He's not Aroldis Chapman.
Right, and like, but Clemens you knew because Clemens looked like a cartoon character. You knew, like, man, Clemens is juicing.
I was watching. Because 2 days ago was the anniversary of Roger Clemens with the first 20 strikeouts, breaking the record. I watched him, was like, that's what Roger Clemens used to look like?
Yeah, he looked like a pencil.
Ugh. Yeah. Wow.
Well, and so all this to me becomes absolutely fair ball, Yoenis down the line. All this to me becomes an issue because I think you still have juicing in the game. And I'm not saying that players aren't getting tested, but are we testing for the right things? And are we? It's almost like, and this becomes a testy political comment, but it's almost like, don't take it politically, I guess. It's almost like we need to profile. Like our testing, it shouldn't be like random testing. Like, it's almost like people make the argument with the TSA, like they should profile when they test, or else what are we doing? Like, if you pull aside a 95-year-old grandmother and search her top to bottom, like, is that really the point of protecting the airports? Is the point of protecting the game? And again, D. Gordon cheated, he got caught, he needs to be suspended. But is the point of protecting the game making sure we get as many people who have taken stanzazole as we can? And making sure we get all those pesky little 70 base stealers out of the game, because they're taking some over-the-counter ointment that has maybe a trace of steroids in it. Like, we need to make sure that Barry Bonds and McGwire and Clemens don't sneak back in. And I just hope that the MLB isn't overlooking what the long-term, long-term objective really of this is. So that was just my thought on D. Gordon. I thought it was interesting because, like I said, we're in a weird state of the game now with PEDs all of a sudden.
No, I totally agree, and that's D. Gordon has officially begun the acknowledgement of that weird state that we're in. Because when I first saw that, I was like getting ready to head into work at like 12:30 at night, and I saw that, I was like, what? Totally, definitely woke me up. If I wasn't awake before, I was then, because it was like, wait, time out. The guy who can't hit home runs, who has 8 career home runs, just got punished for steroids? Makes no sense. Now, who's his hitting coach?
Yes, I know. I did not put 2 together, I guess, until right now.
Oh, man.
Oh, my.
I know, right?
Yeah!
Oh, yeah. No, I couldn't let that one go. I couldn't let it go. Too much. Good stuff, though.
And now to a story about someone in the sports world who was just being too selfish or immature. It's time for...
It's your world, and we're just living in it.
This officially closes the book, and our last podcast, too, on Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football Manziel party time. Hold on, where's the intro? Let's play it.
Everyone loves this part of the show.
Manziel leaps over a guy still on his feet. Manziel!
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Johnny Football Manziel party time.
Manziel retreats. Look at this. He's still on his feet. Got him. No, they didn't. Oh, my gracious. Yep. How about that?
Johnny Football Manziel party time.
Johnny Football.
Time to update all of America on what's happening in the world of Johnny Manziel.
Can you say magic? He's magic.
Got me all excited now.
Manziel, 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 Manziel. Touchdown.
Delay of Game presents
Johnny Football Manziel party time.
Johnny Manziel's in a class of his own.
You've never heard that before, have you?
I had never heard that. No, that was
This
funny.
was made almost 2 years ago when all this crap started happening with him, and John Kipper and Doug Lauer were like, Ryan, you're wrong. Manziel is gonna be great in the NFL. And just following that fake crap. And now the book is officially closed on Johnny Manziel, and I can drink my beverage of choice and be like, y'all were wrong. Because Johnny Manziel, the other day on Twitter, also on the 29th of April, tweeted out the following quote: "You guys act like what I'm doing is something new. I've been the same person, doing the same things since it all started."
Oh, Johnny.
So, at the end of the day, Brent, I guess
It's your
Johnny
world.
Manziel, yeah.
Yep, and we're just living it.
That's right, because
how many retweets you get?
As of 6:54, well, that's when he tweeted it out. I don't know when the screenshot was taken, but the picture I have here, 8,161 retweets, 6,388 likes.
Man.
And Johnny Manziel has officially
he and Miley
destroyed
Cyrus
his
need to get together. I think that would just be a great pairing.
Although I think Miley Cyrus might be on the mend.
Yeah?
She might have finally cleared that awkward
There's like
stage of her life.
they're making a movie about her growing up with Billy Ray. I think.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Why
did.
do we care?
Through the passing.
Why do we care about that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I don't think
I don't
it's.
find that interesting.
I think they like found an actress who looks just like her or something.
Who cares?
Great.
Who,
let's
Hannah
do it.
Montana?
Yeah.
She's playing lead role?
It's not the real Miley, I don't think. Because that'd be really weird because she looked really young.
Movie
and
about herself.
had hair.
You
Yeah.
kidding me? Just okay, yeah.
Anyway,
that closes the book on Johnny Manziel here on Delay of Game. It's been a fun 2
Yay.
years of. I know, right? Where is it? Where, as Cody Berter would say, where's the kids? The book is officially closed on Johnny Manziel, and I am so glad it is, because it's really annoying just to see people just reporting crap about him and seeing bad calls in baseball in New York City as the Giants try to salvage the Game 3 of that series.
He's a good kid. He's just
Two-strike hitting is what baseball's all about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's a good kid.
You better double check that, my friend.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got to say on that. By the way, this Giants-Mets series, you probably saw me tweet this out, NLDS matchup. This is the NLDS matchup that I want.
Okay, I'll see you in San Francisco. AT&T. I'll be there. Wherever it's at, I'll be there.
NLDS?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I went to LA last year.
I thought you were jumping ahead to the NLDS. Like, whoa, easy
No.
there, buddy.
I'll see you in San Francisco. Then I'll see you in
Wrigley.
When I say it's like it's
of
the
course.
masses, and then I'll
yeah.
see you at Wrigley. Yeah, in the
See,
next
me
the next series.
specifically, yeah. If I can take vacation.
Meet me
and
60
go.
feet 6 inches. I told you. I'll take ABs.
That's all right. I'll bring company.
I'll put my life on the line.
That's all right. I'll bring company. I got many Cubs fans around here. I'm sure if I brought it up to them, they'd come from far away. To do a zoo over in Massachusetts, in Boston, or Springfield, Massachusetts. Bet you he was wishing he was in Chicago, but, my goodness. Oh, we've got to get to props, too, as well. I forgot, unless you've got something.
Oh, I was going to say predictions.
Oh, we don't have predictions. They ended last week. Oh, we have to get to the winner. You probably already know who it is. But the battle is between these two. Before we get to that...
Oh, well, you just spoiled it then.
Well, yeah, I won. I won. Sorry.
All right, no, get out of here.
But you want to find out who finished behind me?
No.
Yeah, you do.
Second place is just the first loser. Ricky Bobby.
Wow. Brent Bonfleur, everybody. We have to get to props 2 here. I forgot about that.
Time now for Props 2, the segment of the show where delay of game gives Props 2 someone or something. Ryan Swanigan. Props 2.
Just props to everybody who's been on delay of game the last 4 years, whether it be the podcast or if it's the actual show itself when we were on KRNU or the route or whatever it may be. And can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay, good. But also, and second props to here.
Ryan Swanigan. Props 2.
Brent Bonfleur.
And
Matt Rigby.
This was fun. This was a lot of fun.
Single tier.
So much fun. You added, I told, who did I tell? I tell you this? I told somebody this. You, Matt Rigby, added 30 minutes to the podcast, which was great.
Week, yeah.
Brent and I went from an hour on the route to an hour 30 with you, and it was great. This whole experience has just been fun, too. And with you, too, to create something with your great wit and genius and my production skills, that's basically all I got, to create the route for like, what was that, 4 months? And then, bring back delay of game for another 4 months to only, shut it down at the end. It was still fun. It was still great, and I loved it. And I've loved every minute, and it's been so much fun. And yeah, you just totally destroy me, but, I'll take my beatings in stride and keep on moving forward.
Hey, it was fun. No, it was fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, moving on.
Brent Bonfleur.
Props 2.
Happiness is over.
All right. Sappiness is over. I'll just give props to myself for being great.
It's like Devin giving props to his parents.
For birthing such a
wonderful... For giving birth to me. Because I'm that good. Okay.
Devin Cleach.
We miss you, Devin. We need you to come back from Minnesota. He probably won't. He'd be up there with the Vikings for a year. And then he'll get a job in Miami. And then he'll be sitting on that boat with the women and the cocaine in Miami in the Bay or in the Atlantic Ocean.
With Rick Ross.
Yeah, exactly.
A cigar.
Pretty much.
Wearing white pants and a light blue shirt.
And then when we arrived, everyone would be like, "Who are you? Do I know you people?"
You'd say,
"Sorry,
hey,
I'm
Brent.
too foxy right now." Goodness. So is that your props too? Are you seriously giving it to yourself?
I didn't know we were doing props too, but
it was there. It was the...
Well, I thought...
Matt Rigby.
Props 2.
The Leicester City Football Club, who at the end of today will be the EPL champions. Shout out to my boys, Jamie Vardy, Riyad Mahrez, Danny Drinkwater, Kasper Schmeichel. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Anyway, no, really though, it's just we were talking about it before we started recording. It's just cool. I mean, like it's hard for Americans to quantify this, I think, but the single biggest event probably in the history of sports is on a global stage, because soccer is such a global phenomenon, is Leicester winning the EPL, and it's just cool. I mean, blessed times that we live in. Blessed
You didn't
times.
drop any hockey knowledge on us. You got any hockey stuff?
Well, one of the weird things, we were talking about random facts. Bruce Boudreau got fired in Anaheim, which was, Michael and I were talking about that, Michael Dixon and I, because Boudreau's turned that franchise around, and it's just crazy in sports sometimes. I mean, he just could not win the big game, and I think...
It's like the NBA.
Right, and the analytics has become so prevalent in hockey that, like, you can kind of apply it to baseball, too, in that, like, analytics says that Boudreau and, like, guys like Don Mattingly, like, they in LA before he got fired, like, they're just kind of unlucky, but you can't sell bad luck to a fan base, you know? Like, you got to win the big game sometimes, and Anaheim just choked in the entire series against Nashville and then lost Game 7 at home again under Bruce Boudreau. So, yeah, he's gone now. Someone's going to get a really good coach. It's
probably a Canadian team because I know all those Canadian teams are looking to rebuild right
Ottawa's
now.
probably going to get a really good coach. Yeah. So, Bruce Boudreau, peace out in Anaheim, and that was interesting.
What is that? What is that? I don't.
You gotta find that. Put that on the.
You put that on the
Facebook
Facebook page.
page.
You can go check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/delayofgame, or on Twitter at DOG_podcast. For the future reference, I guess. I don't know how much the Twitter page is going to be active. Stay up to date though with the Facebook page. We'll just keep sharing interesting stories and articles from the week in sports. Here and there, I will certainly be doing like a less than 10-minute podcast. It'll probably be called Less Than 10. Delay of Game presents Less Than 10 with Ryan Swanigan. There we go. So I'll be doing those. Maybe Brent will do one from time to time, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what happens there with all that. But, yeah, so that's the future Delay of Game. We'll still have our website, delayofgamepodcast.wordpress.com. Those less than 10-minute podcasts will be put on YouTube. And, yeah, so that's what the future of Delay of Game basically is. I'm not giving it up. I'm not going to make that same mistake twice. I'm holding on to it, and who knows, maybe if I can get really good in the real world, I'll be able to bring it back onto an actual radio station. Doubtful, but, you know, as Michael Snow always says...
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut?
Yes, exactly. Well said. All right. Brent Bonfoyle, you finished in third place.
All right.
42-39. You needed to go undefeated. All you needed to do was go undefeated, and you would have tied him. He finished second, 43-38, Matt Rigby. And I won, 48-33.
Got above 500.
43-38, yeah. For Matt Rigby. He finished one behind him.
Yeah.
Too many bad losses.
Oh, yeah.
Too many bad losses.
Too much baseball.
You know, it is what it is. So props to Matt Rigby for finishing second to me.
I want to thank God and my mom.
By the way, going back
all my
to
teammates,
going back to
and the commissioner,
the hockey thing,
and my friends,
Canadian hockey,
and my coaches,
the Canadians,
and all the training staff.
Can we say the Canadians are slowly re-advancing themselves? Brent, you'll get this. The Germans are slowly re-advancing themselves. Yeah, that was from 2000, the fall of 2012. That was one of the first sound bites that came out of the Ryan Swanigan soundbite machine. One of the more dumber things I've said. In addition to...
And the cows come sailing in.
How does that come out of your mouth?
I don't know. Thankfully, that wasn't with you. It was the day after. It was the next day for a baseball game when I was with Michael Grandinetti. And, yeah,
Cows don't even sail.
No.
Yeah. Unless they're on a ship. But who transports cows via boat?
Well, you don't fly them in planes.
Well, yeah.
So
you just raise them, and you don't transport
like the way he
cows.
said it is like the cows are steering the ship, like they're.
And the cows come sailing in,
wearing the little captain hats.
I am the captain now.
One of them has an eye patch. He thinks he's a pirate, but you know he's just really demanding for people to eat more chicken.
Can't the eye patch hypothetically like just be like? Can't a cow be born into the eye patch? You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, definitely can. What do they have? Like the pirate cows? They have like wooden udders.
Yeah.
Good
I
grief.
think we better end this show.
I mean, the sex appeal, I think, would just be off the chain.
And I want to thank all the people who made food in the cafeteria and who washed my jerseys and who I went to middle school with, and also my coaches.
Everyone who let me borrow their socks.
Yeah, them too.
Those who helped you find your truck.
Ooh, no one helped me with that.
Wait, well, you said you were good. We offered.
Y'all don't want to know how long it took me.
How long did it take you?
About 30 minutes.
Oh.
No,
well, I
that's
thought
not
you were
bad.
going to say like an hour.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say like 3 hours.
Think about it, though. Like 30 minutes.
That's a long time to walk around aimlessly.
To not know where you're going, yeah.
Where was it?
Some random parking
What was like the original displacement from where you ended up at the end of the night to where your truck was? Like, were you like, was it right behind where you were at?
4 blocks.
So you were 4 blocks
Wow.
away.
That's great.
Wow.
That's a great story to end out the podcast.
I like to
Matt
thank
Rigby.
all the parking attendance, for all the places I parked.
City of Lincoln.
I want to thank the city of Lincoln for raising me. I want to thank LeBron James for keeping his head up, even though he's got a losing record in the NBA Finals.
Thanks for listening to the podcast, folks. We'll talk to you again down the road, hopefully.